Well, I like what we've done. Reminded me of like a phalanx of like Bigfoots walking in tandem, going in the battle, all staring at the camera. Right?
Our relatives.
Right?
Yeah.
It's important.
It is. Hi, I'm Ken.
Ken Haas from Reverend Guitars. Gregory Koch in the Wildwood lair. And here we are talking gristle.
It's time to talk gristle.
We were discussing the fact that this very guitar, the Gristle 90, my second guitar with our friends at Reverend, came out during the 19.
It did.
And we have not had an opportunity to do a video here in the Wildwood lair.
No, that's true.
Which, of course, we would have had the world not been turned upside down at the time of the release of this bold creature.
Without question.
But now here we are.
Here we are. So I think it's also worth pointing out that Wildwood, in a way, is indirectly and directly responsible for all of these Gristle guitars.
Yes, totally.
Because you and I were thrown together here in the lair.
Yes.
And we started doing these videos, and then doing the videos here led to doing videos at my place, led to doing live sit-downs with people at shows and clinics and music stores and things of that nature.
Yes.
And it was all pretty much born from me being behind the camera one day at Wildwood with Steve, watching you play my guitars, and me pretty much Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much and then you started giving it back, and it kept going back and forth, and then Steve was like, this is what we should really be filming. And came out and made it known, and then had somebody put a chair next to you.
Right.
And then it was on.
Right.
And then shortly after that, you got the Descent from me.
Yes.
And you were doing something at the Dallas show, and you asked if I would put Fishman pickups in a Pete Anderson hollow body.
Correct.
And then that led to putting Fishman pickups in a Pete Anderson Eastsider.
Correct.
And then you took that with you on the road and to a number of gigs.
Yes, I did.
Which led to the phone call where you said to me, and I'm paraphrasing, but I've heard you say it a million times, I keep picking this guitar back up because while it doesn't sound better than my $6,000 guitar, it doesn't sound worse.
Correct.
And it plays great, and I like the vibe, and I like you, I like the company, I like you just clicked.
Right.
And you said to me, and I'll never forget this, because you were at Reverend, and we were doing the Ken and Greg show at Reverend for the first time.
Right.
And we didn't have, the Gristle Master wasn't out yet, but you had sort of laid it on me at lunch that you might be interested in doing that. And then serendipitously, what's the word? Serendipitously?
Yes.
I used erroneous a few times earlier and a couple other fancy words. I went for it.
I like it.
I went for it.
I like it. We got to do it.
Naylor happened to call me on my cell phone. And I knew what he was about. And I had Joe, and I talked to him for a minute, and he goes, oh, by the way, Greg is with me, and he said he'd be interested in doing a model. And Joe goes, I had never discussed it with him. And Joe says to me, yeah, I saw this one guitar he has, and I was thinking about how we could totally do that. And then if I took like an element of this, an element of this, an element of that, and I've got it all in my head, put him on the phone. And I was like, okay, Greg, Naylor wants to talk to you. And Naylor just like basically laid the plans for this out for you right there on the phone call.
Exactly.
And so here we were, and we got the prototypes of this in, and there was some twisted. There was the usual guitar building, like little things. We got to do this, got to do that, yeah. And we figured we got all that figured out, and came out with it pretty quick. And it was, it's an instant classic. Well, the Gristle Master is an instant classic.
I play them all the time on the road. I've been putting in a lot of miles playing, and I bring along a couple of these, one of these, and that's it. That's my guitar arsenal on the road.
Yeah.
Because they are built for rock.
And that, again, is something we're very proud of, is that we make the guitars that Greg takes out on the road.
And they're set up the way you set them up.
Yeah, Greg doesn't get like special ones that we grew, that we carved out of the tree that Joe peed on his entire life in order to get the wood just right. And then we did this stuff, and then we got a couple of little wizards and some elves and some people from Lord of the Rings, and we made this special version for you to take out on the road or whatever. No. The guitars Greg plays are the ones that you can buy. So, and sort of case in point on this one, and in another video that you can see over here, Greg is going to be playing this one. But Wildwood does an exclusive run like this Toasted Turquoise, and you have one of the exclusive runs.
I do.
And you are taking it out on the road with
I've
me
been
right
playing the bejesus out of it.
Indeed.
I kind of fluctuate just for the hell of it. It's like, I haven't played this color for a while. Because they're all, the woods are, they're very, very close. There's a little, this one's a little darker than the other one, but it's very, very close window of difference between the models that I have.
So what he just said brings up another point, and we were talking about the Fishman pickups at lunch a little bit, and how they are different from all of the, active pickups that have come before them. And so if you do have one of these guitars that's a little bit heavier than another one, or a little bit lighter and more resonant than the other one, you can actually hear that.
Totally.
And that is cool, because a lot of times active pickups hide that.
Correct. They just sound the same
no matter what you put them in.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's still, you get that tone. And there's a place for that in the music industry.
Sure.
We discussed that too. There is a place where that is, if you are touring on a certain level with certain gear and doing a thing, and the consistency is the most important thing, and all of that, there's definitely a place for that. But the Fishman stuff is more organic than that, which is very cool.
Yeah.
And so this guitar then was sort of round two.
Yes.
And now, just for my information, were you talking with Fishman, with our buds over there, Larry and Ken and gang?
Yes.
Were you talking with them about a P90 set before we started doing this?
It was at the same time.
Okay.
I had the thought of, wouldn't it be cool to do a variant of the Gristle Master, make it more of the shorter scale, set neck, same body style, but with the Bigsby, and with P90s, that would be with the Fluence technology, so that we could find the tones we wanted, but get rid of the noise, so there's no 60 cycle hum.
So these pickups were out prior to this guitar for a few years.
Correct, yes.
This was something that you were going and you were playing it in different models and
Correct, yep.
other brands and stuff like that. And then we came along and put them in this, and away it went. But those were sort of developed along with the guitar.
Correct.
And I remember it was just beautiful, because it's so funny, like thinking about the before times, the land before times.
Yes, listen. Life will float.
We were here together in December of 2019. And then in that little bit of, we were here like maybe 2 weeks before Christmas that December, I remember, because it was one of the few times that I've been here when there was snow on the ground. So I remember it pretty vividly. And then, because the mountains were completely different and spectacular looking. And then before NAMM somehow, we squeezed in a trip to Boston, like in the first week of January. and we voiced these pickups.
That's right.
At Fishman with Naylor.
Right.
And so Joe and I flew in, and we met Greg there, and I remember Ken coming to pick us up from the airport and the wild ride.
Right.
The wild ride to Andover.
Right.
And we went into the labs, the Fishman labs, and
right.
you have to, if you're thinking about like you have to put on the dust suits with the climate control and all, it's pretty much like that. And we went into the Fishman labs, and they had sort of dummy versions of these pickups mocked up, and we had prototypes of this guitar ready.
Right.
And so we put the dummy version of the pickup in the prototype, and then EQ'd it live.
Right.
And it was fascinating because when we did the prototypes of this guitar, it just had the Reverend Aldico P90s in it, which you liked. You're like, this guitar sounds great.
Right.
So when we go to do this Fishman thing, make them sound like this.
Right.
So we had we had one loaded with our stock pickups, and we had one with this, and it was fascinating watching them work.
Yeah.
It's a pretty neat
every
process.
time we did the process, I was there when they voiced their S-style pickups.
Yeah.
I was there for the original classic humbuckers. Then, of course, I was for my pickups as well.
Yeah, sure.
But they always have like a shuttle guitar where you go back and forth, where you can literally take the other pickups out, put the other ones in, or have two of the same guitars back to back. And we always start off with, we're aiming for a pickup sound that's based on this thing, but we don't want the exact sound, but we want what we like about that plus, right?
Right, and then you have a jump-off point.
Exactly.
Right.
And without exception, every time we do it, it's a long several hours, but once we get into the ballpark, usually it's around dinner time, it's like, boom, we got it, and then we like what we came up with better than what we were going against, and that happened every time.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with these pickups.
Yeah.
And, the only thing that was weird is that I went out there a second time after we all went out there and did some more initial voicing and kind of like, do you like this one? Or like kind of being at the optometrist. Do you like this? Do you like better? Is this better? Is it
Well, and you have the little...
Right, it's like gives you the two voices, exactly.
And it was the second voice was kind of...
Yeah. We're trying to figure out what that would be.
Right.
And so we figured it all out. And I also wanted that cool out of face thing. But anyways, we came up with the sounds, and I love them. I mean, they are glorious. The middle position. See, I've got that out of phase thing in there, but we'll save that for. I wanted that, that squawk.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted was
sounds
this.
Fabulous.
It's glorious, and I've been using these a lot for slide lately.
Yeah. I saw.
And because it's just so fat, and it's got that nice mid-range honk to it that I really, really like. But when we wanted to do an out-of-phase thing, well, here, let's get to the second voice so we just hear that. So that. It's very, very subtle on this guitar. It's just a little bit more and a little brighter. Like on this one. Just a little bit more, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, but what's really cool is if we pop up this tone control in the middle, it's out of phase, but it's kind of off center a little bit. You know when you do that Peter Green out of phase thing with a guitar with two volume controls? If it's out of phase in the middle position, you just go back like a little bit on either volume control. It gets this fatter version of the out of phase. It's just off center. That's the only way I can put it. So I wanted that sound because it's more usable than the full out of phase.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've done.
Less volume drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we got the. So here's the neck or the bridge. And then.
Yeah.
So I'd be like. It's a meatier version of an out of phase thing.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't sound all razor blades and hand grenades.
Right. Right.
And but it turned out great. I loved it. And when I got this guitar, the first one I got was this Tosa turquoise, and which is a
Tosa, Wawa Tosa.
Wauwatosa is my hometown in beautiful Wisconsin. It's in the Milwaukee area. So the Tosa turquoise,
Black and gold,
and
its brothers black.
that's
and
right,
gold.
and black and gold, and they look fantabulous as well.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted the Bigsby because the whole reason I wanted the Bigsby is because I have a Reeves Gabrel's Reverend Space Hawk, and the Bigsby on there works so great, and then it made me realize that Reverend does things with a Bigsby that's much more usable than other Bigsbys. So I wanted to, and plus, they have a sound. I mean, even when you're not using it, they have a sound.
They
right?
do.
Mr. Wiggles, as I like to say.
Mr. Wiggles, the whole Space Hawk Bigsby story is Mr. Gabrels was putting springs from a Triumph motorcycle clutch in his Bigsbys because he liked how they felt.
Right.
And it was kind of an expensive part from Triumph.
Right?
But we got one, and we had a spring company match the tensile strength and to the exact proper size.
Excellent.
And we offer them, obviously we offer them as well, retail for replacement for all of your Bigsby needs.
Right. It's awesome.
You can find those at reverendguitars.com.
Yes.
And it's a smoother travel.
Totally.
And it's for some reason, you would think a stiffer spring would have a better return to zero, but we could get really dirty here, but we're not gonna because we're in the Wildwood layer.
That's right.
And you would think, though, that it would, and for some reason, it just does not. I find the softer spring stays in tune better and goes back to zero better. And then when we set these guitars up, and I've talked at length about our whole setup process at the Circle Line Ranch, but one of the biggest functioning problems with Bigsbys, and a lot of the reasons why you see vintage Bigsbys and things not stay in tune very well, is because the rollers aren't functioning properly. The rollers stick. And if the rollers are getting pinched by the horseshoe when they're installed, they won't roll properly. And so if this is just a bar sitting here with the strings scraping along the bottom of it, they will return to tune in different ways.
Gotcha.
With the different windings and all of that stuff. So we make sure that the rollers are functioning properly, even to the point where, if we have to take them apart and file down the ends a little bit to make sure that everything is always working smoothly. We find that this Bigsby, the B50 or the B70 are excellent quality control and really killer units. And so I always tell people when they ask me when I'm going to do a hardtail version of this guitar for them, I tell them, when you have your own signature model, you can have whatever you want. But this is Greg's signature model.
I've used that line my own self.
That is ebony board as well, which was your choice.
It was.
Yeah, because you like bright.
I do.
Yeah, you're not afraid of a little bright.
No, I got to have it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm pleased as punch. They're absolutely magnificent. They look beautiful.
Yeah.
Everyone who sees this guitar, they're like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I'm like, you're damn right.
Damn straight.
And as we said, there is a black version and there is a gold version as well.
Yes, there are. And there's some, Wildwood's done a few different custom colored versions of this and they all sell through.
There's also the Sunburst version now that's available.
There is a 3-tone version of this, and we were talking about how beautiful our factory does the 3-tone. They get the red just
it's
perfect.
beautiful.
Just perfect.
They're stunning.
And so, yeah, for sure. They need to get those here.
Yeah, yes.
And of course, locking tuners, Bonite nut, and this thing is super tricked out. This one in particular is serial number 47494.
That's correct.
And it's an 8.3 pounder.
Yeah. I love it. I dig it.
He digs it.
That's it.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's how it got here. Let's
Do a little something.
let's do a little something.
Grab a
I'm not
little-
afraid to do it. Yeah, do the slide thing that you're doing on the when I see you play live, and let me know what you'd like to see.
The key of D.